Now, I know a lot of people are going to be asking or thinking the exact same thing as you start watching this video, and that is, have your thoughts changed on Arsene Wenger, on Arsenal as a whole? And the answer is no. Even though tonight was a really good performance, a really good result for us, tonight was, I personally think, one of the biggest games we've had in many years, just because of how much it means for the season. If we were to get beaten 3-0 tonight, which we could have easily been beaten 3-0 based on our previous performances, that would have killed the Europa League for us. Taking AC Milan on at home, probably we might have got a win, but it wouldn't have been enough to overturn a bad defeat at the San Siro, and we would be knocked out of the only competition that we've got left, which is unimaginable. We need the Europa League so bad. It's our only hope of getting into the Champions League next season, and it's the only hope of recovering somewhat of the season, which has been disastrous. It really has. But my thoughts haven't changed whatsoever regarding Arsene Wenger, regarding changing manager in the summer. My thoughts will not change. That is something that needs to happen regardless of how we finish. It's just about getting there and what happens along the line. But I don't want to talk about the negative side of, the whole terrible form we're in and, the state that we're in as a club, because tonight was a positive, and I want to go through the entire team and talk positively about each player, because I can't really think of any of those players in our lineup today that had a bad game. For the first time in a long time, I genuinely feel quite satisfied as an Arsenal fan, which is crazy. This is what winning feels like. It's been ages. Really, really long time since I've felt this way. So let's start off at the back. Makes sense. Ospina. I've always had my doubts about Ospina, mainly because of his height. I do think it's an issue sometimes when your goalkeeper's not, 6'3", 6'4" plus. I mean, you need height as a goalkeeper, so you cover more of the net. I mean, that's just maths, isn't it? But he's really good sometimes, And there are moments, there was a part where Hakan Çalhanoğlu was going down the left side and Ospina came out, and I just thought, what are you doing? Please don't slide in. He slides in, pretty much gets a teeny bit of contact on Hakan, who, if he went down, potentially would have been a penalty and a red card. So decision making is questionable sometimes, but he was really good tonight. I think in general he was very, very good, and I'm so glad that we do have Ospina here, because although Petr Cech, he's taller and has more experience, it doesn't necessarily mean he's the better goalkeeper right now. But when you do see Ospina making these mistakes, it's easy as an Arsenal fan to say, well, one, why did we sell Chesney? He's gone to Juventus. Doesn't really make sense that at all, does it? And he didn't want to leave. And two, why didn't we replace Chesney? Clearly, too much faith was put into Cech and Ospina, but tonight was a different story. Ospina, very, very good. And personally, he should be, in my opinion, the number one goalkeeper at Arsenal. Moving on into defence. Now, we had a different setup today. We had Chambers at right back again. Now, I wasn't a fan of Chambers at right back in our last game. Putting him up against, that absolute pace of Brighton was suicidal. It was setting up Chambers to fail, which is wrong. He's got the potential to be a great player, and when you're putting him up against a really quick left winger, it's not really fair on him. But tonight, I think it helped that AC Milan didn't really do much on the wings, if I'm honest. Suso was on the other side. He was their only danger at times. So Chambers, I think, had a relatively easy night tonight, but he did do a lot right, and I was actually quite impressed. We sold Debuchy. I completely agree with that sale, but I do think we should have had someone else coming in. I mean, if you sell a player like Debuchy, who is your backup right back, you need to bring someone else in. But clearly, Wenger has some faith in Chambers to play there. El Neni ended up playing right back at the end of the game as well, so maybe he sees El Neni as another choice. But when we sold Gabriel, who also played right back a couple of times, it did leave us a little bit wounded there. And with Bellerin being out tonight, I did fear for the worst. But Chambers was spot on tonight. Really, really good. Mustafi was better as well. A few moments of madness in the first 5 minutes where he was completely out of position. But for the rest of the game, no complaints. He's a warrior sometimes. I know he can be a bit crazy. He just runs around everywhere. It doesn't look like he's got any thoughts in his head. He just runs where the ball is. But he did do well. And Koscielny, a real captain's performance tonight, which I haven't been able to say for a while. He's been really poor. He really has not had a good season this year. But tonight, experience came through. He dealt with AC Milan's front line very, very well. The first 5 minutes in general were very wobbly, and it looked to be a typical Arsenal start, going 1-0 down. Imagine if that happened. We wouldn't be sitting here right now after a 2-0 win, that's for sure. But after those 5 minutes were over and we kind of settled in, really the rest of the game, there wasn't too much to deal with in terms of proper chances for AC Milan. So really pleased about that. And Kolasinac, I hope he's okay. He got brought off, or he said he wanted to come off. He looked to be a bit injured. I haven't heard what's happened, so hopefully he's not out for too long, because he was, I think, our star player in the first half. He was an absolute nuisance down that left side. Poor AC Milan couldn't handle him. He's just so strong. He just literally barges into you and you fly into the stands. He's an absolute tank, and I love that about Kolasinac, because there's one thing that Arsenal have missed for many, many years, and it's another reason why I think Xhaka was still a good signing for us. We've missed physicality. You think back to the Invincibles, players like Vieira and Gilberto in midfield. You know, real strength, and we've lacked that. Xhaka's brought that into our midfield. He is physical. He's a very strong player. And Kolasinac has really brought a lot to the team in that sense. So really pleased for him. And when Maitland-Niles came on, brilliant as well. No complaints. He's such a composed player for his age. It's ridiculous. And I do see him having a big future at Arsenal. I really do. Maybe not a left-back, but certainly in midfield. Maybe a box-to-box midfielder. Really, really like Maitland-Niles. AMN, as they call him. Really, really good. Moving on into midfield, where I think this was our weakest part of the game. I think that unless you count Mkhitaryan and Ozil as, well, they didn't do anything defensively, but they are still part of the midfield, and I think they did well. Let's start with Mkhitaryan. He got his first goal for Arsenal. Bit of a deflection off Bonucci, but hit the bar just moments after as well. Well, not moments after, but could have made it 2-0 in the first half, and getting his second goal. Just comes off the bar, so close. Thought Mkhitaryan was excellent today. Really, really good. He seems like he's got a bit more confidence now, and what more confidence can you get from a goal? You know, that is going to be fantastic for him. But Mesut Ozil, now a lot of people won't agree with me on this, because yes, he got 2 assists today. He basically created those 2 goals. But I think most of the other players could have done that. I honestly feel like they weren't spectacular assists. They were nice passes, but I think someone else could have done that. And it's not one of those moments where you go, oh, Ozil, absolute brilliance, because I actually think he went missing a bit today. Didn't do too much, and you could see when he got subbed off, he wasn't particularly pleased. Not his best game, but when you get 2 assists, I mean, you can play as bad as you want, but if you're providing goals, scoring goals, I'm happy. So those are the 2 forward midfielders. I want to talk about Wilshere, Ramsey and Xhaka, because those 3 worked really well today. We had Wilshere playing, I would say, the Ozil type role, a number 10 role. He is number 10 after all. Now, I've always seen him as a bit of a defensive playmaker, but likes to get forward. Today, he played pretty much up the pitch with Welbeck. He was brilliant. A couple of misplaced passes here and there, but the way he retains the ball, the energy he brings, the creativity, that magical left foot, the ball just glues to his feet. I don't know how he does it. I'm not going to say what I just thought, or should I? I should. He reminds me of Maradona a little bit. Now, I know that's crazy, but when you watch highlights of Maradona, of course, I wasn't alive when he was playing, but after watching countless highlights and all the clips and all of that stuff, Maradona was so good with the ball at his feet. Very low centre of gravity, short player. Wilshere has something. Maradona's obviously out of his league, let's be honest, but just reminds me of him a little bit. Ramsey got his goal. Brilliant composed finish around the keeper. Donnarumma probably a little bit inexperienced there. I think, maybe a Buffon would have done better there, because he's just rounded him and he's gone down too early. But Ramsey, very good in those situations. He does get his goals. And he was playing a bit of a deeper role than Wilshere, but was able to get forward. And that's what I want to talk about, because with Xhaka sitting back more, it seemed today, it allowed Ramsey and, of course, Wilshere to get forward. And that was a really nice trio. There was a lot of triangular systems being moved around the pitch as we played, and I really liked that. So I guess you've got to give Wenger some credit for setting up the team differently tonight, and it worked. And, when you see this lineup, yeah, I would take Welbeck out and put Aubameyang in, of course. I would take out Chambers and put in Bella in, of course. But then you're looking at, I think, our strongest lineup. Ospina in goal as well. Really definitely think he should be our number 1 at the moment. But Danny Welbeck, let's move on, because I've given him a lot of stick. And I still don't think he's Arsenal quality, and I don't think he ever will be. He does, I think, need to be sold, moved on. You know, maybe we could do some sort of swap deal. Like I was thinking, why not offer him to Crystal Palace and 20 million for Zaha? You know, just a deal like that. I'm not saying that would happen, but we need, I think, someone just that little bit better than Welbeck. But I think I've cracked it, guys. I think I finally realised what Welbeck offers. Okay, now, I'm going off topic here, but there's a game that I've played a lot since it came out. It's called Overwatch. I'm sure a lot of people play it, a lot of people know what it is. In that game, you have attacking style heroes. They're known as damage dealers, DPS, whatever. Welbeck is a striker, but he's not. And the only... I don't know why I was thinking of this earlier. He reminds me of... what's her name? Sombra. Sombra's who I'm thinking of. You're probably thinking I'm going mental. Like, how am I comparing Welbeck to Sombra? Now, this is my thinking. In Overwatch, Sombra isn't known as that player that will go out and get all the kills. She's just a nuisance. She's really annoying to play against. She's always in your face. That's Welbeck. He's not a true goal scorer. He never will be a 20 to 30 goal a season type of striker. But what he does give to you is a lot of high effort running. Like, his work rates are incredible. And he's just a pain in the arse, isn't he? He's always running. He's always in their face. He's pressing that back line. That's the only comparison I could think of at the time. You know, he is Sombra in Overwatch, just an absolute nuisance. Yes, he may be a striker, or in her case, an attacking type player, but they're not known for getting goals and kills. They're known for just being a nuisance. He's just a nightmare to play against. And tonight, he was brilliant. He really was. He didn't get a goal. He didn't get an assist, but he was causing havoc, and that allows other people to get involved. I'm sorry for the weird comparison there. It was funny when I was thinking about it, and I wanted to say it, because why not? So, overall, really pleased. And this does mean that whilst, you know, we've been in this terrible run of form, and it's not a guarantee that we're going to come out of it now, but this does give us hope. It's a huge confidence boost to go to the San Siro in a huge European fixture. This is a massive fixture. It may be the Europa League, but it's huge for us. It's huge for AC Milan. And to come out 2-0, 2 away goals. You know, all we need to do is bring them to the Emirates, have another good performance, and we go through. And this could really kickstart what I think should be the end of an era of Arsene Wenger leaving at the end of the season, with us hopefully winning the Europa League. It's still very unlikely, but it's what we've got to go for. This could really help us start climbing up again. You know, in the last 8 years or so, whenever we've had a tough season in the beginning, we always seem to end quite well. And I think we will end quite well. We've got the team. We've got the players. We've got everything we need to succeed. We just don't have the right manager. And that's what it comes down to. He's past it. He's lost his managerial mojo, as they say. Move him on at the end of the season. Play like we did tonight. We'll be fine. We will rebuild. New staff, new manager, couple new signings, sell a few deadwood players, and just start from scratch. And who knows, we might just be in the Champions League if we can win the Europa League. That's just how I'm feeling right now. But this ultimately does paper over a few cracks. We still have defensive issues. We still have, of course, an issue with the manager. There are still problems, major problems, but a result like tonight is it's just nice. It's a relief. That's what it is. So thank you for watching, guys. I'm really excited to actually bring you a positive Operation Arsenal. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed the game as well. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Well done, lads. But still, Wenger out.